Hello, welcome back to my podcast. My name's Mary English, www.maryenglish.com, and I'm an astrologer, an author, and an alternative therapist. And today we're going to be discussing or learning about the sun in the chart. So last week, we learned about the ascendant, which is the most important part of the chart if you know your time of birth. Because the ascendant gives you a little bit of an idea of how you actually tackle life, especially when you're under stress. Now, near enough everybody knows what sign of the zodiac they are, and a lot of people call them star signs, which isn't actually astrologically correct. In astrology, we call your inverted commas star sign, we call it your sun sign. It's the sign of the zodiac that the sun was in on the day that you were born. Now, as I've explained earlier, if you go to www.astro.com, make yourself an account up. You can use their site and have 100 charts on their site. You can store 100 charts before you get charged. And actually, it's £7 a year to have more than 100 charts. I pay £7 a year to have 1,000 charts, so it's not a lot of money. And so you've put your data in, you've made your chart up, and we've discussed about the different chart shapes. Now we're going to go into the bit more of the nitty-gritty of what you need to be looking at when you're working out a bit about yourself. So the sun in astrology, the sun in astrology, the symbol for it is a circle with a little dot in the center. So if you're using astro.com, you'll see that there is a little sun, a little circle with a little dot in the center, and that symbolizes the sign of the zodiac that you were born under. So the sun represents the sun, the flaming ball in the sky, and then depending on what sign of the zodiac you were born under, we can then say that your sun is in the sign of la la la. So this week we're going to use as a chart example Queen Elizabeth II, and you can get her data on a website called Astro Data Bank. So that's linked. You can get it from astro.com, but if you search for it, it's called Astro Data Bank, and if you put in Queen Elizabeth, two queens will turn up, because we have had two in the UK, Queen Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth II, but we're going to use Queen Elizabeth II. Just wait for that to come up. And her sun sign, so her sign of the zodiac is Taurus, and so her chart. And when you get to Astro Data Bank, where you see the picture of the chart on the right hand side, there's two options. One says natal chart Placidus, and then underneath it says natal chart English style equal houses. So that's what we're using. We're going to do it the Mary English way. We're going to use equal houses. So you'll see the chart there, and if you click on it, and you'll see a black circle with another little circle inside, and that's the symbol for the sun. Now, going around the outside of the chart is each sign of the zodiac, and I'll just do a quick run through of the symbols of each sign. And Astro Data Bank quite kindly does them in red for fire signs, green for earth signs, yellow for air signs, and blue for water signs. Not every method or chart you use or website or whatever is going to have that nice handy thing, but they just happen to do that. So the symbol for Aries is it actually does look like a ram's horns. It's a funny sort of bent type sort of V shape, but that represents the horns of the ram. And Taurus, which is what our lovely queen is, looks like a bull, so it's got a little circle with little horns above it. Gemini is the next sign, which is two ticks with the little lines going between them, representing the twins. Cancer is two little they look like little sixes sort of held together, and that could represent the female nurturing breasts. It could represent a whole load of different things, but that's what Cancer is about, nurturing. So that's what those symbols represent. Leo the lion is the lion's mane. The symbol for Virgo is a funny sort of squiggled M with a bent little tail tail on it, and the tail on the M curves back into the M. I have no idea what that represents. I don't know. I don't remember ever reading how the symbols originated. Obviously the ones that are after animals look a bit more like animals, but Virgo is the Virgin, the maiden. Maybe it's the M for maiden, but I doubt it, because English isn't astrology isn't English. But anyway, that's the symbol for it. It looks like an M with a little tail bent back in. The symbol for Libra is the scales, because it's the scales of justice. The symbol for Scorpio, again, is another M, but this has got a little tail on with a point, so that represents the sting of the scorpion. The symbol for Sagittarius is the archer, so it looks like a little arrow. That's a nice easy one to remember. The one for Capricorn is the one that's the most difficult to flip and analyse. It's why that should look like a goat, I have no idea, but it's sort of like a 7 with a little blob on. And when you're learning astrology, that's probably one of the hardest symbols to remember. But anyway, if you look at one and you think, gosh, I don't even know what that is, then that's guaranteed to be Capricorn. The symbol for Aquarius is 2 little squiggles that look like water, because Aquarius is the water carrier. It's not a water sign, it's a water carrier. And the symbol for Pisces, unfortunately, looks very, very much like Gemini, but where Gemini is 2 little ticks held together in the centre by 2 lines, Pisces is 2 little curves held by 1 line in the centre, because that represents 2 little fishes swimming in opposite directions, if you can get your head around that idea. So that's what all the symbols are. So if you look at your chart, you'll see your little circle will be in the same segment as the symbol for your sign of the zodiac. And I probably mentioned this before, but I mention it again. If you were born during the day, which the Queen wasn't, she was born at 2:40, really early in the morning or late at night, whichever way you think about it. So her sun is below the horizon, because we must remember that the birth chart represents us on Earth, with the universe going around our Earth, and she was born in the country that she was born. It was night time, so her sun is below the horizon. So in her chart, her little symbol for the sun is below the centre of the chart. So have a look at your chart, and if you know what time of day you were born, hooray, that's useful. If you were born during daylight, hopefully, if you've done your chart correctly, your little symbol for the sun will be above the horizon. And if you were born very early in the morning or very late at night, then the symbol for the sun, which is your sign of the zodiac, will be below in the bottom half of the chart somewhere. I was born late afternoon, round about 4:30, so my sun sign is on the, I suppose you could say, the 3:15 mark in a chart, in the segment in the house number 7. But we'll come to houses in another episode. Today we're just talking about the sun sign. So your sign of the zodiac, what does it mean? So whatever sign of the zodiac you are, and I say most people do know what sign they are, it represents your motivation, what gets you out of bed every day. We can think of the sun, it's your ego. It's that part of you that uses rational thought. Now the moon, which we'll be discussing next week, is the emotions, because the moon reflects the light of the sun, but the sun is who you are, where you're at, what motivates you, what gets you out of bed, what gets you going. Fire signs are more active. Air signs are more cerebral, like lots of thought and discussion. Water signs are very much into emotions. And earth signs need to be reasonably grounded to be happy bunnies. So find out your sun sign, which you know already. Now, I'm just going to briefly discuss a thing called the cusp. And I want you to know this, there's no such thing as a cusp. You are either one side of the zodiac or you are another. Because when we're doing the maths of it, each sign of the zodiac is 30 degrees big, because a circle is 360 degrees, and the way they work it out, you're either going to be 0 degrees and 1 minute into one sign, or you're going to be 29 degrees and 50 something minutes into the next sign. You can't be in 2 signs of the zodiac. So when somebody says to you, oh, I was born on the cusp, No such thing. Go to astro.com, put your data in, and find out what sign of the zodiac you are for once and for all. And it will calculate it for you very accurately. Astro.com uses a Swiss ephemeris, and as we know, in Switzerland, what with them having clocks and stuff, they're a pretty accurate country. And once you've found out exactly what sign of the zodiac you are, then you can learn a bit more about yourself. Now, other planets travel at similar speeds to the sign of the zodiac, the sun sign that you are. So you might find, just sort of think, oh, all my life I thought I was a Libra, but you've got a bazillion of planets in Scorpio. So you might have possibly more planets in Scorpio than your sun sign in Libra. But when you're talking about the signs of the zodiac and the sun signs in horoscope columns, if it doesn't resonate for you, it might be because you've got other planets in other signs, and we'll come on to the other planets, don't you fret. But the sun sign that you are is determined by your time, location, and date of birth, and you need to have a reasonably accurate time of birth to get your ascendant. And if you were born on the cusp, you need to know vaguely whether or not you were born, AM or PM, because the sun could be changing sign of the day that you were born if you were born in between two signs of the zodiac. So don't rely on any website that lets you know, because you were born in the 20-something of whichever month it is, then you're definitely this or that or the other sign of the zodiac. I'll give an example. My dad was born on the 22nd of December, and he was a Sagittarius. He was born quite early in the morning. He had a Sagittarius ascendant, sun sign Sagittarius. But the year that he was born, 1921, that particular year, the sun didn't go into the sign of Capricorn until quite a few hours later after the time that he was born. Because I had a number of people, when my book, How to Believe in Sagittarius, came out, I had a number of people email me from Brazil, because it was translated into Portuguese for the Brazilian market. And these two ladies emailed saying, have you got it right in your book? It says in there that your dad's a Sagittarius, but he was born on the 22nd of December. Surely that's Capricorn. I said, nope. It's not a Capricorn because of the date that he was born. It just so happens in 1921, that particular year, the sun didn't go into Capricorn until a little bit later on that particular day. So your sign of the zodiac is quite determined by some specifics. So the more specific you can be, the better. So your sun sign, who you are, is your motivation, where you want to go in your life, how you react to things. So for instance, a squishy little Pisces is going to react to things more differently than a bright, lively Leo. There's going to be radical differences between those two. The Pisces is the wibbly wobbly, and the Leo is more warm, loving, active, out there, less shy. However, and there's always howevers in astrology, even though you might find your sign of the zodiac and think, it doesn't really sound like me at all, that's when having your own particular birth chart for your particular data is much more individual than just your sign of the zodiac. Because if you think about it logically, you couldn't really divide the whole of the world up into 12 signs and say, everybody that's Pisces is exactly the same as everybody else, because they're not. They're going to have different moon signs, different ascendants. Things are going to be all over the place in different places. So there's a lot of individuality in astrology. That's what I like about it the most. So get your birth data into astro.com, find out exactly once and for all what sign of the zodiac you are. So we're not calling it your star sign, it's your sun sign. The sun is who you are, where you're coming from, and your ego. So I hope you've enjoyed having a little listen today. That's a little bit about the sun in the chart, where it's likely to be. I hope you're enjoying listening. My name's Mary English, and it's www.maryenglish.com, and I'd love to hear some feedback from you. Very welcome to email me, mary@maryenglish.co.uk, or you can use .com. Both addresses will work. So thanks for chatting. Speak to you soon. Bye bye now.